Welcome to the latest episode. You know what? We got to work on the name of the pod at some point,
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do. I realize I've sat there like at the drawing board trying to think of different ways to remix Touchline and Tottenham, and hey, it's harder than it looks, I can't lie.
Proper. Like, cause on one hand, like, you could argue Touchline Hotspur works because it sounds similar to Tottenham Hotspur, but we might have to sprinkle some sauce on it somehow. Maybe next season.
Yeah. The sauce has to come. The sauce will come.
We got the sauce in the past. We're good.
How you guys doing this week, though, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Doing good. I see the man them been writing for the Athletic and that. It's crazy. Trendsetters. How you doing, Owen? You good?
Yeah, man, very well. First game back of 6-a-side literally just now, and ended up getting quadruple lung failure. And clearly, I'm not built for this heat, so I'm a little bit lack, but we're out here.
You got to get that two-week pre-season in here.
Oh, mate.
Oh, hi, all. How you doing, my bro?
Man, I'm right. Trying to. Obviously, rugby season's coming. Like, the coach is going to finish us, so I went for a run in the rain the other day, which I've never done before. Bro, when them raindrops touch your jaw, yeah, very, very deep. It's always my runs are the square in it. So when I run the first three directions, it's all right. But then when you come the opposite way
towards the rain, yeah.
Yo, I didn't know if it was sweat, blood, bogies. I don't know. Bro.
Just got to run through the pain. Ty, how you doing, man?
I'm not as healthy as you guys, clearly. The only running I do is for the training back. But decent, so it's been decent. So looking forward to the show.
Good week, yeah. Tops?
Yeah, man. I'm good. Busy week. I'm done for a little while now. So just happy to be back on the pod with you guys.
Nice. Good to hear. Shouts out to everyone, to Sai and the rest, everyone who's not here today. But it was a good week, I think, for Spurs, all things considered. Probably we can start at the last game. Got the 1-1 against Crystal Palace. I don't know. Ty, do you want to take us through that one?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we done our predictions for the Palace game. I think we was all expecting a win. Well, I mean, I was.
Yeah.
It was unbeaten in the last 7 or 8. And what we saw was pretty dreadful. It was a real war fest.
Yeah.
Good goal to kick us off with Harry Kane again. Our bagsman back. But apart from that, we didn't really do anything. I can't remember the game, apart from the 2 goals. I don't remember much else happening.
It was a boring end to the season.
Yeah.
But I mean, top 6 secured.
That's it, man. That's the main thing.
So on balance, yeah, I guess that is the main thing, or that's how it feels. In fact, I think we had some conversations about whether it would have been better not to get into Europa League. I know Sai's not here. I think he was the main one saying that. But yeah, I mean, now that we're there, it just feels like a victory to be in there, man. I know it's not the end of the season that we all would have wanted, but all things considered, like being 14th when Poch left, I think it's a good thing on balance.
Yeah, it would have been just our luck to finish 7th, and then Arsenal finish 10th, but win the FA Cup, and then we would have just been holding banter until the end of next season.
For no reason. Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So I think I'd rather. It sounds pedantic, but I would rather finish 6th and slog it out in the Europa than have them man try and banter us from way down south. They're rubbing shoulders with Burnley and them. I don't want to hear from them because.
Like the boys down the road, they seem stressed out. I can't lie. Like it's not looking good for them over there. It's not looking good, man. Like they're in free fall right now. Literally, no parachute.
It's a sticky one, still for them.
So we've got Kane and Mourinho nominated for Player of the Month and Manager of the Month, respectively. Do you guys think that's deserved?
Yeah, nominations. I don't know if either of them will win it. I mean, Kane got 6 goals in 7 games in July. So
I think he's in with a fair shout.
Yeah, I mean, I think only Sterling probably deserves it a bit more. I would say Sterling had a really good end to the season, but I mean, Kane after not playing for 6 months, he's been amazing since he's come back. So, yeah, good to see our boys nominated for something good for once.
Yeah, I think it's a positive. It's definitely a positive end. Mourinho, I'm not really sure how he's got in there, to be honest. But
you know what, the Don is so shameless. Like, if you see the way he celebrated at the end of that Palace game, like that's how I know that like levels of God, man.
You're lucky you didn't bust out the shanks and start doing knee slides, man.
It's mad because with him, like he's so shameless, but it's not as if like the stats haven't backed him. So he has every right to be behaving, or even to be in with a shout with this manager of the month award. I suppose this last sort of 4 or 5 games after the Sheffield United game, we have kind of turned it around, and he has kind of he's had the squad sort of re-galvanised or rejuvenated, and we've kind of ended on a decent run. Like as I said, like previously on Twitter, like we were 14th to start with, and he's got Kane scoring again, and we finished 6th, and we've got European competition to possibly look forward to, and potential funding from European competition. So he ain't really going to complain, So.
So I mean, do you guys think anybody else had a good game in the Crystal Palace game apart from Harry Kane?
I say Lo Celso had a very good first half.
He had another assist there again for the stat watchers.
He did. And it was
padding them up. He's padding them up.
When he went off in the second half as well, when Bergwijn kind of took over that advanced role, the game just kind of died anyway because all the players were tired. But
I was hoping
Celso's influence on the team, obviously, when he went off in the second half, that we didn't really look like creating that much from deep.
I don't think Stevie really impressed in that cameo. Like, obviously, it wasn't the best game for him to feature in, but
it's tough. It's tough for him to get going, like A, off the bench, and B, just when we're clearly trying to shut up shop. Do you know what I mean? Like Stevie wants us to. When I think Stevie's at his best when we're either properly on the break, like 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 or whatever, or like we're playing like a bit progressively. So I don't know if I can fault him for that one too much, because his style is very opposite end of the spectrum to the game plan that we were doing at the time. You know what I mean? And I think I was probably more relieved that Aurier just looked okay against Zaha, to be honest.
Yeah.
That was genuinely what I was probably more worried about. And I'm not going to say he locked him down per se, but he did okay.
Kept him fairly quiet. Yeah, absolutely.
I think Schlupp even gave him more problems than Zaha.
Yeah, he did. Schlupp was decent.
Yeah, Schlupp was he was causing us some problems in that game. I mean, another person I wanted to bring up was Alderweireld. I thought he had a really good game as well, but there were times when I was just thinking, is he going to be our main starting centre forward next season? And I just wondered what you guys thought, like what would be our starting centre forward pairing next season?
Centre forward?
Centre back. I swear we've done that before.
Remember when Gary Doherty used to go up top in the
just send him up top, man. Send him up top. We'll launch it.
Bro, Alderweireld up there, man.
Boy, do you not remember when Stuart Pearce had John Macken on the bench and he threw David James up top? It was the wildest thing I've ever seen in my life. I must have been about 10. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing, bro?
We lose that game 4-3.
Yeah, we even lost.
Mad. I think even didn't Klopp do that one time with like Corker or someone crazy like that?
It wouldn't shock me, bro. Anything can happen at Liverpool. I've seen Pepe Reina play. I saw Pepe Reina play centre mid in pre-season, bro. But anyway, back to centre. Can we see Toby, based on current form, I think has to be starting CB. How old is Toby now? 31?
Like 31 or 32, yeah.
I think this is like the back end of the prime. He's not like he's declined definitely. Like he's not as good as he was, but he's definitely like the improvement has been unreal since the restart. This is someone who wasn't really getting starts. Realistically, we're going to see Sanchez and Dyer for a while, which is worrying. But I think you need, if Toby is now settled in the fact that he's going to be one of the experienced ones in the dressing room, leading some of the younger lot. I'm sure we'll touch on King Ledley coming back, but I feel like Ledley's going to be looking to someone like Toby to sort of get his messages across really loud and clear in defence as well. So yeah, and I think Toby has to be like the main centre back next year.
And do you think it will be him and Dyer or him and Sanchez in that case?
I think we've seen it depends on the opposition. If the other team is like a quick striker, he might want Sanchez in for his pace. I think that's what we've seen so far. But I think going forward next season, we're slowly going to see Alderweireld get phased out, I think, especially with the Europa League. Hopefully if we get another centre-back, don't know about this South Korean brother, but if we get another actual centre-back that we've seen play before, Alderweireld might not play in the Europa League games and we save him on a weekly basis so he's not playing too much. I think that would be the best foot forward for us, because every time I think about Alderweireld this season, I just see flashbacks of Danny Ings putting man on his knees. I want to see that again and again. So there's a lot of work to be done in every area of the pitch now.
Yeah, definitely. I think centre-back for us is a key area. I know we've got good centre-backs there. I just don't think we've got a good pairing at the moment. I think that's where we're struggling so far, like just to find that consistency. Yeah. But yeah, as you touched on, before we go into like some awards and like what we think of like the season, Ledley King joining the backroom staff, man. What do you guys think of that? Like, I know we were throwing out like lots of different names of people that we want in different roles in the backroom staff, but I mean, Ledley King, that's not really one that came up, I don't think. Was it?
No, I don't think so. Like, it was weird. For some reason, I actually thought he was already part of like sort of the back coaching stuff, but I didn't think it was an official thing. But because I'm sure I'd seen pictures like somewhere.
I think he was an ambassador
at the training grounds of this. So I was maybe like,
He'd done a bit of under 18 work in the past. I think because when the Jose thing popped up, I did a look into it, and I remember Ledley come out and said a little while back that he just wanted a break, didn't feel like he was ready at the time. So I'm sure it's probably been a work in progress since probably before restart. But yeah, that's all I know to my knowledge.
I'm reading a piece from Alistair Gold, like really good journalist on Twitter about Tottenham. And he was saying about Ledley King a few years ago, he talked to him about maybe joining, doing his coaching badges and joining the backroom staff for Spurs. And he was saying, not interested, don't care about being a coach or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see what effect Mourinho had on Ledley King coming in. Because on paper, it looks like, our best defender. I don't think, doubtably, like he was our best defender when he played.
Yeah, well, in my lifetime.
Coaching our really weak defense. So it should work on paper. Whether it does, who knows? It's
interesting you say that as well, because I think when I was watching Mourinho talk about it, he said something about like Ledley King he's willing to do all of the badges or anything it takes like to be part of the backroom staff now as well. So yeah, I think that does indicate sort of that 180 spin, like maybe from the direction he was headed in before. I'm sure he was ambassador, but I can't remember. I need to check that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a very good move, especially since Mourinho seems to be that kind of defensive coach, and like you know what they say about Ledley King's knees. So I feel like he had that control of like more of the mental side of the game as well, which is probably something you can share, something you can give Dyer, you can give Alderweireld, especially I would say Sanchez and maybe Aurier too. But yeah, it's good. It's definitely good. It's a positive thing.
I think it'll be really good.
He's going to be doing more training sessions as a coach than he did as a player. So
poor Ledley's knees, eh? Jesus.
I think it would also be really good for Tanganga as well, just after signing the contract and getting someone who, because he does, and I feel like he prefers to play CB. So having like a young, up and coming CB listening to like effectively a club legend, like you said, arguably our best defender ever, or at least that we've all seen. I think that would be really good for Tanganga's development as well. Yeah. Just lastly, sorry, I feel like there could, obviously I don't know Ledley's personality inside out, but I don't know, there could be maybe another reason Jose's brought him in is to like dovetail in a sort of good cop, bad cop kind of way. Because I know, I'm not going to say to connect, but I know I'm friends with someone's sister who plays for United, and the way Jose used to treat certain man, it was like you stepped on his mum's neck 4 times a day. It was for no reason whatsoever. And it annoys me that people say, oh, that's just his style. You've got to get used to it. Didn't work for Martial. Didn't work for Poplar. It doesn't work for everyone. Do you know what I mean? So maybe he needs the balance of the more arm on the shoulder kind of person. Maybe that's where Levy's going to come in, slightly younger, like, you know, a bit more in touch with the youth as he's worked with the under-18s and stuff like that. So that could potentially be another factor.
So I'm thinking maybe like Ndombele should benefit from that kind of situation. If this is true. Because, it seems like, to me as well, it seems like he does this at every club he's been at. Like, he always picks, from my perspective anyway, he picks one of the best talents. It's almost like he's just letting everyone know, like, I'm the big dog around there. Like, he's just trying to pick on the biggest talent, the biggest name, and then make them feel like they're not needed or they're not necessary in order to make everybody else feel like, wow, like how he's chosen me like over that person almost. Like, I need to give 150%, 200%, 300%. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Obviously, that's just me looking from the outside in, and hopefully we get a better perspective into that in this Amazon documentary, because I mean, there's not really much else to look forward to there, is there?
No, like, I think it'll be good as well, because like someone like Ledley, like, he's done it. So like you mentioned about him playing at the back end of his career, so that would be important for someone like Toby, because he can obviously tell him or try and, you know, sort of help him and be like, this is how you kind of want to be looking after your body, or if you want to change your game in a certain way as you get older. But then also for someone like, as you said, like Tanganga, like, you know, them days where Lily came in and he was playing alongside Judas, you know, and doing his thing when he was like a young boy. So he really has seen, like, you know, the whole process, you know, not just in England, but also internationally as well. So I think for us, it'll be massive. Like, in my opinion, like, in my lifetime, he is the best defender I've ever seen at Spurs. Like, that guy, he's like hands down my top 2 favorite Tottenham players of all time. And I'm always going to respect like everything that like Harry Redknapp used to say about him. I used to be like, if Harry really saying this stuff, like it can't not be true. And then I was listening to some stuff on a podcast the other day, and they were mentioning about world-class defenders, and someone like popped up and said about, reminded me of this statement that Thierry Henry had made, that, like, you know, one of the toughest defenders he had ever played against, like, in his life. So for someone who basically had dodgy knees and played basically centre back and DM, like, to have that sort of, and Thierry Henry's like a killer, like, to have that sort of a compliment, you know, he's got to be doing something, you know.
Yeah,
I played DM for England, you know. People forget, bro.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I think even Henry was saying, like, he was one of the only players that doesn't, like, grab you. He's not grabbing your arm.
Yeah. Proper
like,
defender,
ability,
exactly.
like, But man, that's definitely a positive for the future as well. Everything's positive this week, man. I don't know. It's ending good. I thought Mourinho was gonna have negative effects on the club, man, but the future's looking bright right now. Let's see.
I mean, we was talking about King being one of our best defenders that we've seen in our lifetime. In my opinion, the second best defender we've ever seen him in my lifetime left the club, obviously, this week.
Yeah,
and I can't lie, that video that Tottenham released, it hit the heartstrings, man.
It's true, man.
My guy, man. Super Yan.
No, I feel like we're gonna miss him, man. Like, obviously he's getting older, and it happens to everyone, man. But that period when you had Alderweireld and Vertonghen at the back, behind like Modric and Dembele, it was just crazy, man. Like, that is the kind of spine that you can build crazy things around, man. And it's like, I hope it's coming again. I hope we're going to see something like that happen again under like King and Mourinho, man. I think the foundations are definitely there.
Whose dog is that?
Oh, it's someone out the window.
I was just thinking throughout that whole thing, I do actually miss Harry Redknapp's compliments as well. Like, you know, you say you complimented Ledley King. Like, even if we had a defender like David Luiz mess up or something, you'd be like, oh, well, he's a top player. He'll come back. On the stat sheet, he dives in sometimes a bit silly, but he's a top player, you know.
Terrific.
Just on the topic of Jan, like I think obviously love everything he did for the club. Can never say a bad word about him, but the man deserves more, man. He deserved at least one medal.
Yeah, he deserves way more. Way more, man.
He deserved it, man. Like I feel sorry for him that he is left without any trophies. Like all he's got is the nostalgia trophy, and that's it.
He's got that Audi thing.
I was just about to say.
He's got the TT.
I'm not gonna speak on it, but it's criminal that there's like a group of players that we had that we hit at sweet spot and didn't win nothing, man.
For real.
It's hard, but you just have to just try and forget it and just hopefully we just go again. New squad, we've got a new stadium, new manager. Let's just move with positivity for the new season. Like I'm gonna miss Jan as well because it's amazing. Like as a Tottenham fan, you always want them to just do their best and you want them to fight for you. Even if you lose, you want them to fight. So when I watched that video and he said his favourite game was the Battle of the Bridge, that's when I knew that he understood. That's when I knew that he understood what it is to be a Tottenham player because he realised that he hates Chelsea. He knows that what we were going for, and every man was fighting for each other under Pochettino in that match. And even though we lost, like imagine him saying that was his favourite game in his whole time at Spurs, 8-9 years. That's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. What do you think his best moments were like for you guys? Anything that
his first season where he just scored all of those goals and we can
What, when he was playing left back? Was it behind Bale, I think?
Yeah. He was playing like Dyer right back that season as well. Like crazy. 4 centre back, destroying everyone.
I'd probably say for me personally, Vertonghen, his assist and his goal against Dortmund. Like this season, I love last minute winners. I just need it injected into my veins. So the last minute winner in the rain against Wolves.
Yeah.
That knee side celebration as well. Nothing but knee side celebration.
It's the best. Trust me.
You know what moment I'm probably feeling, yeah? When Aubameyang missed the pen.
I was just thinking out of nowhere.
No, Rob. When Aubameyang missed the pen and Vertonghen moved to, he was illegally in the box.
That's what made it even sweeter as well, you know. All the Arsenal fans crying about it.
They were all crying, "Oh, Vertonghen." I was like, "Shut up your mouth! I don't care." Shut up.
It always seems to be pinned like this as well. Just
yeah, he's good. The real secret Jan.
I think that one. Yeah. That was probably my favourite. That and I think he had some mad last minute tackle on Marco Reus against Dortmund one time. It would be between those two. Probably the Arsenal one, but yeah, man. Rolls Royce defender.
Yeah, man. Proper.
And don't forget, he actually initially rejected going to Arsenal in the first place.
I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
I remember, like, he was about to join Arsenal and then they were saying something about, he may have to start playing holding midfield when he joined. And he was just like, okay, I'll go Tottenham.
Oh, fair play.
Right.
Yeah, the right choice, man. Yeah, for me, the right choice. So let's go into like, I guess our version of awards of the season or review of the season. I just wanted to throw some topics out there from a thread. I think it was from Jonathan D. Veal 83, giving some love there. Right. But yeah, I wanna throw out some of his questions. So like, you got the normal ones. I mean, like the best goal. I don't think anybody's gonna argue about that one. We all agree, Son Burnley.
Yeah, Son Burnley.
Yeah.
I mean, was Bergwijn, wasn't it? Or Bergwijn.
Yeah, that was a banging goal, but no, it has to be Son.
I say for the rest of the questions, like we can just throw out some nominations and then we just vote in it for who wins. But player of the year?
Harry Kane.
I think it's tight. I'll say Harry Kane.
I'm going for Son.
If you had asked me before the lockdown, I would have said Son for sure.
I'm going for Son.
So I think Ohio, you got the. Did you say Kane or?
I said Kane as well. Yeah.
Oh, so that all right, cool. We'll give it Kane then. Biggest.
Just because he gets bossed and he just keeps plugging away. He never stops. Everyone's like, "Oh, my man's finished." He's like, "Okay, wait for me." That's what he does.
That's it, man.
Okay, I'm finished. It's fantastic.
Say watch. Look then.
It almost drives him, man.
Honestly, bro.
I see a stat like that he played every minute of every game since he came back or something like that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He's
Insane,
a cyborg, bro.
Well, what do you expect when there's no one on the bench for him, though? Like, there's no one to replace him. What does he expect? Like, he has to play. Like, you know what I mean? He's like padlocked to the pitch.
I still don't get. I'll never get why Trey Parrott doesn't come on though, especially like, with that news of.
He was injured for most of the lockdown.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. He was getting no love early season though. Like none.
Nothing. He ended the last season on a bit of a high with coming in with Pochettino, and then that just got nipped in the bud, man.
The last time when Mourinho first came in as well, and fans were obviously calling him to play more. And you know what I'm going to say as well. And he turned around and was just like, what are these fans on about? None of them have seen him play. It was just a bit like,
it's so annoying because it's so.
Box office.
He's just sat there like, what are you lot talking about? Like, none of you are training. Like, you're just
it's true.
He's 18, bro. Like,
well, it's true. A lot of what he would say, he has every right to say it. It's like, this is a kid who we clearly know like has a decent prospect, but has basically played no top level football. So how are we supposed to know that if he comes in automatically, he's just gonna do a Rashford and hit the ground running? You know.
Who was the biggest flop?
Oh,
I know who it is. I just don't want to say his name.
No one wants to say it, bro.
I'm going to throw out.
No,
I'm going to go for the safe option. I'm going to go for the safe option.
Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it.
Poch.
You know what? I think that's a decent shout. You know, like
Poch was the biggest flop, man. I can't put Ndombele under the bus like that.
No,
can't do it.
Impossible.
I think it was Poch, man, because going into the season, I thought the stars were aligned, man. I thought cool. We were a bit Spursy in the final of the Champions League, but it happens. You know what I mean? And we've been there a million times, and I thought, but to get to the final shows some progression, and I thought we were going to kick on from there. So it was disappointing that period, especially like the few games before he got sacked. That was the low point for me, man.
I think just to put a bit of a twist on that one, I think maybe if I stayed potentially largest descent from where they were sort of admired from last season, on the lowest, low-key, Sissoko's standing in the team has probably gone down. Not in terms of him. He's obviously going to start every week because of what he does. Yeah. But, last season, I think, he came into the team, like people were worried about him being sold. He's coming, he's just everywhere. Enforcer, just snapping people in midfield, taking the ball, starting counters, etc. Whereas, and maybe I'm being a little bit harsh by saying descent, but I think this year, his lack of technical, teams just sort of remembered that when he's at centre mid, if you pressure him, nothing's on. So obviously last year, when he come in, everyone was like, all right, he hasn't played for time. Oh shit. Because he's the epitome of P&P in centre mid. Like literally, you can't, he's like a wardrobe that moves at high speed. It's nuts. But then teams are like, okay, well, a wardrobe can't turn. A wardrobe isn't going to pop off or pass through the lines. Like, so he got found out, which to an extent, is it his fault? I don't know. But yeah, I'd say biggest descent in terms of like team impact is probably Sissoko. And I don't know if I'm doing that in a bad way, just an observation.
Saying on Sissoko, that's another thing from the Palace game. How can man pull his hammy from a bad first touch? Only Sissoko can do something like that.
No, it's so unfortunate, man, because it would have to be him. It's just like, you can't even defend it ever.
Yeah, you can't.
Another flop in the season, I was thinking, even though he left in January, Christian Eriksen.
Just no point. Like
the best moments this season, but on the whole, he's dreadful, man.
Only disappointment with Eriksen is that it felt like he actually stopped trying. I feel
that's the thing. And why did Pochettino continue playing him then?
This is the thing. As a professional, you just shouldn't do that. Like, I get if your motivation is a bit low, but you're a high level pro. Like, your intrinsic motivation has to activate. Like Coutinho, everyone knew Coutinho wanted to bounce, but he was like, you know what? I'm going to do my due diligence. I'll
Still
get
spamming in goals.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there just would have been a bit more respect towards Eriksen had he just, proper put in the graft before leaving. We'd have been like, you know what? You wanted to leave, but you did your thing. We respect you. Off you go. Do you know what I mean? It's just the way he just performed. Like, the downturn was quite sad. You know?
It was.
What else we got here? I think some of these are just so obvious. Like, best performance, we definitely would go for Burnley. All right, what was the biggest, like, what the fuck moment in the whole season? I think
just Mourinho being hired, probably.
Mourinho was definitely
the Mourinho hiring, Pochettino
how swift it came about as well.
Do you remember the whole is it Christian Eriksen's wife thing or whatever was going on there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that was crazy.
Was that even true? Like,
I don't know. Like, how did that even turn into a thing, man? That was mad.
The Tongan turned up with a black eye, and then somebody was like, "Yeah, he's been packing out." Where did you not get this? Like,
I just sometimes you have to wonder, these in the know guys, where the hell did they get this stuff? Like,
I completely forgot about this. I hope they address this in the documentary.
All right, that's two things to look forward to in the doc then. We can keep that as well.
I forgot that happened.
It's like some EastEnders shit, man. That was crazy. And it's like, I think they even had to do like a statement or something. Like, crazy.
But you know, some of these Belgian, man, they move mad though. Remember Courtois and KDB, bro?
Yeah, that's true as well.
Well, you never know, innit? But nah, that was probably the biggest.
Yeah, that black eye, I think, is still unexplained.
to this day.
He banged the Tongan, fam. All right, what about the best Jose moment?
Best Jose moment.
The fight between Lloris and Sam Beautiful.
Yeah. I hear that.
I have to put in a little nomination for intelligent cunts, man. I love that. I love that shit, man.
I think another one was when I think Paul Merson must have said Kane's not going to bang goals under Mourinho. And then Mourinho just started listing off strikers in seasons that they scored when he wasn't there.
Started coming with wrong stats and shit. He was moving like Trump. He was moving crazy that day.
None of the journalists pulled him on it. He said it was got such panache. He was having himself.
I started talking about Drogba, 100 goals. And like, he was just saying anything. Oh no, he was talking about non-penalty goals, isn't it? Yeah, he was going crazy.
His Bruno Fernandes comment was quite funny recently when he was talking about what did he say? Someone asked him, but I think they brought up Bruno again because we missed that, and he was like, "Yeah, they've got a really good player who's really good at taking penalties."
No shade.
Yeah. Love it. What do you guys think of Bruno though? Do you think we missed out? Like, honestly, I think more than anything, to me, the player who he reminds me of in our team right now, I think most people would think I'm going to say Lo Celso. But for me, honestly, it's Dele Alli. When Dele Alli was in top form, he did a lot of the things that Bruno Fernandes does now for me, in that he tried to do the quick flick-ons, he looked for the forward pass, he tried to be in space. You get what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's a lot of similarities between how their game was when Dele Alli was at his best. Obviously, not right now. Yeah, that's another convo entirely.
I think we did miss out with Bruno still, because no matter what role you want to try and put him in, whether it's at 10, whether it's playing deeper with Winks or Sissoko, whatever, like, that is an extra piece of technical ability we're missing in midfield. That's another progressive passer we're missing out. It's another person who wants to receive the ball, wants to run forward, wants to score goals. So, it is a bit funny the way they talk about him misplacing passes and the way Pogba misplaces passes. But But no, I'd say yeah, we missed out, but it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like they got him now. They're paying him the racks. We just got Alfie Devine in it. It's minor.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll
Starboy.
Starboy. Hey, someone get your stocks up, man. Tell me about Alfie, bro. I can't lie. I don't even know. I don't know a lot about Alfie Devine, you know. I've heard his name before, definitely. Because he used to play for, was it England?
England 16.
16s, isn't it? In the midfield, or I guess.
In midfield, yeah. So he played, obviously, if anyone listening, if you did or didn't see the thread that we dropped. So, like, he was Liverpool Academy, got released at 11, he's put up front, and then Wigan took him quick. And then I think he moved to centre mid. So he's more box to box. Like, he can play a bit deeper, but he is like, I've literally only ever seen one video of this kid. And I think it was because somebody put it in the group chat after someone asked after he signed. But just like visually, he's not scared to get stuck in. He's got a free kick on him, happily pass between the lines, never scared to take the ball. Admittedly, it is whatever level he was playing at. And, you know, when kids are starting out at age, the game is a lot slower to them than it is to everyone else, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, like I said on the thread, if you're 14 and you're playing for the under-18s and you're small and you're 15, and to be fair, you get moved up to the under-23s and then you make your debut 2 months after your 15th birthday, there is something about you. Do you know what I mean? Went to this tournament with England 16s, sport chain tournament. I've never heard of it in my life. One player of the tournament, and he's one of the youngest there. Like, there's talent there in it. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's exciting to get in there before everyone else. Obviously, we feel sorry for Wigan going into with their financial difficulties, but the game is the game. We have to pounce. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's it, man. Don Levi.
I'm glad we did pounds as well. Like, you made an excellent point in the thread. Like, there was obviously a lot of fans kicking off. Like, why are we signing young players when we should be signing players to improve our current squad? And you were just making a point in a separate tweet. We can do both. That's a good point as well. Like, it's a very low risk transfer from a player that actually looks like he has promise. So, fair play on us for snapping him up.
You got Levy doing up both.
You just got to hope that he's not another guy like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, innit? Someone that bangs at youth level then does absolutely fuck all when he turns it up.
That's fired. Ruben.
The thing is, I don't want to give him leeway because he's a Chelsea boy, but nah, man. Once his Achilles is fully healed, a little bit shit.
Yeah, it could get mad.
Tyler's not having it.
Yeah, but it's true though. Like you're saying, once he's a kid, it's like saying once Ndombele gets fit, he's done. Like he's gonna be. I think he's played at a level where we should be able to say straight away whether he's good or not. He went to Palace. He done a decent job. He's gone back to Chelsea. I don't think he's as good as people say he is, but I mean he's still young. He has come off a big injury. There's a lot for him to prove. And with all these different signings, I mean, his position in the team could get even, you know, that window is getting even smaller. But he is still young, and there does seem to be a bit of a player there. But
I can't lie, man. We were just talking about guys playing with one knee, fam. I'm not having no little Achilles. I'm not having it, man. I want to see him do good in it. I just ain't seen it yet. I can't lie. Do you guys want to go into some listeners' questions? Gonna end it. I just had a flick through. We've got quite a bit.
Well, a lot, yeah.
Yeah, at least 10, 20. I haven't checked the quote tweets. Ohio, do you want to take us through them?
Yeah, man. I'll get a pop in. We'll start with Tapping Tobes. He says, "Don't say Max Aarons. Who is a realistic person?"
You just know the question. You know the question already.
Sorry?
When he said he's don't say Max Aarons, you just know, bro.
There's other right backs besides Max Aarons. Yeah, besides Aarons, who is a realistic first right back option for us? Tough question to start.
I think we've had a look at this guy from Atalanta. Is it
Timothy
Castagne? I think is that someone that we were possibly looking at? Like I had a little look at him online, and he does look a decent player. I think he's mid-20s. and he's playing in a very attacking Atalanta team. So he could be someone that could obviously do a job. Obviously, Italian league is a lot different to our league, but I think he's also kind of twerked a little bit, saying that Tottenham are a decent club, and he's not really sure what his position is at the moment until the season ends. So that's someone we could possibly look into. Aarons is a funny one because I think he's a decent player, but I think as a Tottenham fan, we should be looking a bit further on. We should be looking at players who are, I hate to use this term, but players who will definitely improve the current 11. Whilst I like Aurier, I feel like he just isn't the right quality. So we need players to just push us to the next level. Whether Aarons is that person, I don't know. From what I've seen, even Tanganga at right back, I don't actually mind him playing there from time to time. But in terms of other prospective sort of right backs, I mean, there's not really that many out there. I think Munier was somewhere that we've spoken about, but I think he signed recently for Dortmund, I think.
Mm-hmm. He has, yeah.
So that's someone, again, that's kind of off the radar. I don't know, which other names would you guys put in there as well?
What did you
heavily linked with Youssef Attal from
Yeah.
Nice. He's looked very, very good. And from what I've seen from him, I've not really seen too many League One games like that. But from what I've seen of him, he looks very good going forward, at least. Defensively suspect. But if he carries on Mourinho with the lopsided wing-back tactic and gives Attal that license to get forward, he could be really dangerous. And another outside shout would maybe be Dumfries from PSV.
Oh, yeah.
I understand he had a pretty good partnership with Bergwijn at PSV. Again, I haven't seen him play that much. I've only just seen YouTube clips of him, but I like the look of him, and we could get a good value and good prospect of a player from him, I think.
Just before we move on to the next one, just because I've seen a couple shouts about Bielsa fancying him, what would you think of Foyth as the right back? And then we're now doing a pendulum thing, so Foyth could be a bit more of a defensive one, the way Davies does it, and then we could play someone like Cess at left back for certain games. If we're playing like a weaker right side or something.
I love that option.
I'm just gonna say that.
Tanganga as well. I think don't sleep on Foyth and Tanganga. I think I get why everybody wants someone who can improve sort of who starts and who's the first team right back. But I think as well, one of the things we need to improve is just the consistency at right back. Because I think that's one of Aurier's main problems. It's not that he's not good, it's just that he's not always consistent. He does have those mistakes in there. But maybe if Foyth and Tanganga get a bit more game time, they can be a bit more consistent and we won't have that issue about whether or not they're good enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we got a big question from a whole lot of Rafi. He says, the way Jose's banking on Europa League is slightly worrying for me. Is our squad that bad that we can't get the Champions League through the league? So that's part one. And part two, do you think next season could be Kane's last if he doesn't see any significant progress? So we'll start with the Europa League one. Just to touch on that quickly, and this, no offense, Rafi, I do hope you're listening. Please don't take any offense to this. If you do take offense, my postcode is, I'm joking. I think we sort of need to chuck ourselves a little bit in terms of where we want to get to. We want to be back in Champions League final, 100%. We want to win Champions League. You want to win Prems, of course you do. But we need to remember what we have won since Jonathan Woodgate and the League Cup and all that. We haven't won anything. Do you know what I mean? And if the likes of Son is coming out in the media and saying, I want to be in Europa League, I want to win it, Jose saying, I want to win it, it's actually nice for a change for a manager to turn around and be like, actually, no, yeah, we want to win something. Do you know what I mean? It's not the be-all and end-all of what we want, but it's a start, I think.
Yeah, I think it comes through that momentum thing again. We haven't won a cup in so long. I don't think it really matters which one it is. We just need to get the ball rolling.
And I'll throw this one out to the boys. Do you think next season could be Kane's last if he doesn't see significant progress?
Well, I wouldn't. First of all, I wouldn't fault him if it was his last, because whilst he's been a loyal servant, guy's been a shooter the whole time he's been here. We have probably let him down in terms of his expectations with regards to what we've done in the trophy cabinet. But I wouldn't fault him because, you know, this is a guy coming into the peak of his career who clearly wants to win. He is a winner. You can clearly tell, like, you know, he drives people, he motivates people. Personally, I think if we don't win anything, I think he has every right to go. But whether or not Don Levy will let him go for X amount of money, I don't know. But, like, I wouldn't, again, fault him purely just because, like, you know, he wants to be winning things. He's the sort of player that clearly is driven by the ability to possibly win things, to be able to play at the highest level, to score goals at the, you know, the highest possible levels. So, you know, next season with everything that's happened with the new stadium and everything, if we don't win anything, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if someone came in or if he maybe had started to push closer towards the door. I don't know.
We got what, any other thoughts on that one? I think you covered that quite well, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
Only thing I would add to it is I think sometimes, like, I get the feeling that Kane might be motivated as well by getting that success at Tottenham. I think sometimes we miss that part. I don't know if it's just the success that he wants, because if it was that, I feel like he's had that opportunity to leave like multiple times.
Yeah,
maybe we're just like, that could just be sort of like our insecurities about it. Like, obviously he's our guy. You know what I mean? We don't want to lose him, but yeah, I don't know, man. I think maybe he is motivated by being at Tottenham. He could be like that Gerrard kind of player or something.
Yeah.
We got to make sure this guy keeps popping out kids, man, because the more kids he has, the okay.
Man's banging goals in and out of the bedroom, man.
All right, we got one from our boy Sai. He says, with the noise surrounding Levy and all the noise we've seen on Twitter recently, what are your thoughts on him potentially maintaining his role if some sort of takeover does happen? Can his methods be fine-tuned into a bigger budget, or do you think he's incapable of adapting? Good questions this week.
Very good question. I think personally I'd be happy for him to stay on, because he's always kind of worked without a bit of a cash injection. And if we were in a scenario where we were actually taken over by someone with oil money and potentially a lot of lawyers as well, I think he, like, there was an article, and I will credit them, The Athletic, who said he's the mastermind and he's great in negotiations and probably the best as long as he has leverage. Obviously, with like a good takeover and we've got a nice financial backing behind us, when we're not working to like tight budgets and we do have leverage, I think he's got that Tottenham supporter in him as well to still be able to carry us forward.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I get on to Daniel Levy.
Yeah.
Just because he's like the face of the owner of Tottenham and he's like the easiest target, but well, who's our actual owner? Is it Joe Lewis? Is that his name?
Yeah.
That's the guy that pumps some money into the club, even though he
doesn't do anything else.
So if we did get someone to pump money in, Daniel Levy to handle the business side, because like I've tweeted on the account and on my personal account, I think he's done a magnificent job of running the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get someone in just to handle the football side of it, in terms of the scouting, in terms of the intake of players and getting rid of players as well. I have no issues with Daniel Levy staying on. I think he's done a good job.
Just to put another perspective on it, I think, so I don't have any issues with Daniel Levy staying on, but I think there can definitely be some question marks about how he would spend a bigger budget. Because I think when we've had bigger budgets in the past, that's when like the mistakes have started to creep in, it feels like. So yeah, that's just something to look out for. But definitely I agree, like I think he would be amazing. I think he is amazing at the moment still. Like he's
like he gets a lot of grief, and you know, I read that Forbes article that came out earlier in the week, and then obviously the Athletic article, and you know, whilst it's so frustrating as a Tottenham fan, you have to give the man credit. You know, he's literally dragged this club with him, and we have this amazing stadium, this amazing new complex. You know, we've had this not success in the terms of trophies, but you know, as a club, we have, you know, we've improved in so many different ways. And And I suppose now we kind of just want to make sure that when moving forward with regards to transfers and recruitment, that we make the right decisions, because clearly on the business side of things, he's doing the right things. You know, Tottenham are now becoming a profitable football club where we actually generate, you know, revenue, if not like the biggest, you know. So he's done so many amazing things, and you can't fault him for that. But you always, as a Tottenham fan, as a football fan, you just have to be like, it's frustrating because you want him to just to release the shackles a little bit so that we can thrive, you know?
I think, just to pretty much summarize what you said, I think it's balance. I think because I think the Enick out and Levy out gang, all them lot, I think it doesn't have to be one or the other. Like, you can appreciate what man has done and still be frustrated with times he's come up short. So the little change that we needed to get Grealish over the line, the little change we needed to get Mane, you know what I mean? There's signings there that, yeah, it's, you know, and I think there's something I was reading, I can't remember whose thread it was. I honestly would credit you if I could remember. But I think they were talking about some of the signings Poch wanted, and we ended up with the Nkudus and the Ngs. You know what I mean? That's on Levy, innit? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Who's, them man
We
there.
used to buy that guy every year. The same guy, bro.
Bro, remember that one assist that Nkudu got against Fulham for Winks' goal?
Harry Winks last minute winner.
Nkudu must have tweeted, I'm still here, or something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's one of them ones. I think people that all Enick Levy out, needs to just be like, look, pre where we were in it. Do you know what I mean? Pre where we were, pre where we are now. But I'm not saying be 100% happy, but just like balance, innit? Get me?
Yeah.
I want to try and combine two questions here. One from Who is Kwam, and one from, I think it's Decoy LDN. And the general gist is how far can Jose take us? And is he a better option than Poch was? We try and use those two together.
I think for me, he's like the necessary evil right now. Like, I wouldn't say he's better than Poch was. And I mean, like, if things don't go amazing, I wouldn't even be too opposed to Poch coming back. Like, maybe he's cleared his head now. We can get another sort of run out of him. But I mean, in terms of Mourinho right now, I just think he's the necessary evil. He can take us a bit further by just giving us that extra edge. Like he said, I think he's hit the nail on right on the head when he talked about sort of adding that side to your game, like just becoming cunts, just having that edge. Like, and I think that was the difference in the Battle of the Bridge. Like, we spoke about that being like one of the best games in Vertonghen's career, and how much that meant to us as fans. And in a lot of games where we play badly, I do think that's one of the things that is missing. So, I mean, yeah, I think he can definitely take us far at this current moment.
I wanted to get your guys' opinions. Do you think Jose is playing like this because he just has to do what it takes to get the points coming in halfway through a season, and we'll see something a bit different with a season next season? Or do you think this is just what to expect under Mourinho?
I feel like he's very pragmatic. Like, I always think back to the first game when he came back. I mean, when he joined, like, against West Ham. Obviously, it ended 3-2, so it wasn't perfect. But I just felt like we were a lot more expansive in that game. And yeah, it probably went a bit downhill from there.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Because he did say before, when we still had Poch, I remember he said on Sky Sports or something that he will have to adapt and stuff. I think, generally speaking, I still expect pragmatism, but I expect better pragmatism. You know, I know people feel a certain way about XG and however it's interpreted and stuff, but Palace's XG against us was 1.1.
Scary.
Ours against theirs was 0.3. Do you know what I mean?
Scary.
This is flipping a team with Christian Benteke up top has more than tripled our XG in one game. That is scary.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Bournemouth had how much of the ball against us? That is scary. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't mind being defensive and playing on the break if we're very good at the defensive. That's all I ask for. Do you know what I'm saying? And maybe that's where Ledley's going to come in and be barking them orders and drilling it into like our centre backs and whoever's in front of them to protect them. So it's just whatever we're doing now. If it's getting results, I can't really complain, but it has to be better because we can't keep outperforming our XG, because that XG always catches up with you, no matter what you think of it.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Who else we got? We got one from Just Jay. 093. He says, how many additions do we need to have the proper squad depth to compete in Europa and the league?
In my honest opinion, I think we need 4. Well, definitely 3, but if we can get 4, that would be amazing. I think if it's 4, we need 2 fullbacks, we need a DM, and we need a backup striker. But if it's 3, it's a backup striker, a DM, and another left back, in my opinion.
To expand on the question, so Nikki Depressed, you asked 3 questions. I'm going to take the middle one because you kind of answered the other 2. What type of signings do you think can be made to improve the squad? So obviously we mentioned a couple of right back options, got potentially Højbjerg, depending on what KWP wants to do. Is there any other sort of type of signings you man would 100% want?
We were talking about like backup for striker. What do you guys think of Callum Wilson?
I think he's quite limited. As an all-round player, as a striker, he's good at obviously getting in behind and scoring. But if it was a toss-up between Josh King and Callum Wilson, I don't know how or what fee Bournemouth would quote us for Josh King compared to the heavily rumoured 10 million for Callum Wilson. But I heard as well, I think Callum Wilson's had back-to-back ACL injuries as well.
He has.
So that'll be a risky move.
I totally agree with you. Like, if it was me, I'd be more inclined to pick Josh King. I feel like Josh King, in a weird way, he's more like Llorente as opposed to closer to Kane, if you know what I mean, because he's a bit tall. He can probably hold up the ball a bit better. He's decent on the ball. Like, you don't often see him really getting in behind, but he is a bit of a hassle for defenders. And he is played in the Premier League. So, like, he does have, like, you would say, the know-how. And he's an international for Norway as well. So this is someone that I think will probably be a decent addition. I don't think he's that old either. I would prefer Josh King over Callum Wilson. I feel that the ACL situation is something to always kind of worry about. But it's weird, like, the goals with him are properly dried up in, like, the last sort of 6 to 8 months as well. And then if we're thinking about someone on the other side, like, I think Parrott's still young, so I think getting him out on loan would be good. But someone I've mentioned before, like, I mean, I properly have stocks in Ollie Watkins. Like, I properly believe this is a player that, whilst I'm not going to say he's a brilliant player, but you can clearly tell he's a very hungry, young, good player. And I feel like to have him to be hungry as like a backup, learning off Kane with like internationals in the squad, with Mourinho sort of helping him. And as I said yesterday, like, with a buyout clause for only 18 million for someone who was bought, I think, for 1 point something million, I mean, would be a decent option to go forward. And also thinking about the future as well, because, you know, we know how Don Levi loves to move with his buy-in for profit, you know, so...
Yeah, I mean, I know beggars can't be choosers as well, but I was thinking ideally if we could sign a backup forward that can ideally play out wide as maybe even an inside forward as well. I think it was probably your shout, Ohio, where you said Memphis Depay. I think that's he's a quality player, and I think it's a viable signing for us as well.
Did he play under Mourinho at United, Depay?
He played
Van
under
Gaal.
Van Gaal.
Yeah.
Played under Van Gaal. He was only 26, and like if he's not playing, Holland don't play. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Everything goes.
Such a touch for them.
And I like that shout a lot.
He's coming off quite a peak injury in his defence, but from what I've been hearing, he looks mad hungry, and like he is the main man at Lyon. Like and you can never have too much sauce in the team, man. I don't mind.
Never too much sauce. Come on,
if he wants to go make some videos of Headie 1 and RV in the meantime, find some goals in between. I can see Depay featuring Headie and RV. It's calm, bro.
I'm pretty sure Holland played a kind of chilled counter-attacking kind of system as well. So I think that would really suit Mourinho. Correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't seen Holland that much, but from how they played against us, it looked quite similar, as in when he played against England.
And in case there's any Spurs fans that still have this glimmer of hope, because obviously Mourinho's come out and said we need to be looking at free transfers and that kind of stuff. But is any Spurs fan that thinks we're signing guys like Diego Costa or guys like Edison Cavani, yeah, it's not going to happen, big man. It's not gonna
Just
happen.
on the wages alone, it's just like a no. I
Not
mean,
just-
I know we earn decent wages. They earn decent wages now, and there's like a decent bonus structure and stuff. But just the base wage alone is enough to be like, these are players that we just have to accept are not in our.
Mind you, though, like in these unprecedented times, do you think are these kind of players?
Listen, Ozil's earning 350 and he hasn't even touched pitch the whole time. None of these 33-year-olds are gonna come and earn half and be busting it up for Mourinho.
But that's what I mean. Like, who's gonna sign another one of those guys? Like, who is gonna sign Cavani for 350 grand a week right now?
Mad.
Do you get what I mean? Like, that pay cut might be destined right now. In this in these unprecedented times, you know.
Boy, just on the topic of strikers, Jay Spurs free. We've kind of mentioned Parrott a little bit. Thoughts on Parrott getting loaned to Millwall? Did anybody see him going anywhere else? Because I thought that we might have used him. He could have gone on loan to Bournemouth and we get one of their boys, but I don't think it's going to happen now.
I think I read earlier on. I think Robbie Keane went to Millwall when he was young, and Robbie Keane is involved in the coaching staff at Ireland, and he's always spoken quite positively about Troy Parrott. So I think maybe that's been something that's been said, maybe that he's been in his ear, because funnily enough, Harry Kane's also been there as well.
Yeah.
So maybe Parrott can also maybe ask Kane about that. The fact that it's somewhere he's probably just became a bit hardened, playing men's pro football at a decent sort of level. And I think for him it would be good. Like, everyone seems to be speaking quite positively about Parrott, and I feel like he just needs to be getting playing. Once he gets playing and starts getting confidence, similar to like Brewster, who's at Swansea, he's playing regularly, he's playing men's football and he's scoring goals. And that sort of builds confidence, and that kind of like builds you as a player, for later on in your career. So I don't think that would be a bad thing. Like, how old is Parrott? 18, 19, I think? So,
18, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it would be decent. And it's still in London as well, so it's not as if he's moving too far away as well,
Yeah,
I mean, that does say that if we are loaning Parrott out, we are getting another striker in.
We have to be.
Which is
I would hate to see what Mourinho does if we don't. I'm genuinely the press conferences would be very, very interesting, but I'd be shook to just see what Jose does. No, go on.
Are we all like agreed on Højbjerg? Because I think we need him. I really do. Like,
we need that option 100%. Like without
a competent player in that position, and obviously how competent he is, and the fee we seem to be getting him for, it looks like a good deal all round, to be honest.
I think as the more games we can get without Sissoko being like necessary as opposed to like chosen, I think it would be a good thing. Because at the moment, I think in some games it looks like he's stealing a living. Like, obviously some games he does a necessary job, but in other games it does feel like he's stealing a living, like running away from the ball. He doesn't want the ball passed to him and things like that. Like, it kind of shows him on the pitch. I just think with this Højbjerg guy, I'm not really so tied up to the player. It's just more having another option in midfield. I think that's what I'm thinking about.
Someone who wants to play at defensive midfielder, someone who's happy to screen and help the defenders, but someone who's also sort of technically proficient, is happy to take the ball on, is happy to try and progress the play, is happy to even try to get forward and score. Again, we speak about it, but this is a guy who's an international. He's been captain as well, Premier League club and an international level. So this is someone who could definitely improve us, if not take us to the next level, but definitely improve us and give us more of an option. Like, Sissoko as like an option, so it's hard to watch sometimes, to be honest.
Trust me. And then the last one, to be fair, most of the questions have been very similar to one another. The last one that's quite different, which I think we're all probably going to agree on in a sense, from Fuad Kadani. Thoughts on Lloris's turnaround in form since restart?
Big up.
Positive.
He's definitely behind Jose's style of man management as well, isn't he? Like, he seems to have really embodied that and shown for the first time that I've ever seen him actually like being a very vocal captain and being like what's traditionally known in like the Premier League as the captain who actually just shouts at people all the time and orders people around, but in an organised fashion, and calls people out on their BS. And obviously he's been performing well as a goalkeeper anyway. I think obviously our play style suits his style of goalkeeping as well. Like, you see him make a lot of errors when he rushes out.
Yeah, he's not a sweeper.
Someone gets in behind the high line, or when he's like trying to pirouette on the ball. Like, even in the World Cup final, he did a goal like that. So yeah, I think overall Jose Mourinho's style suits him, obviously tactically on the pitch and his man management style as well. Just seen a big upturn in form in him, especially since the restart.
Mm-hmm. It's done our club a big favour, because last summer I was saying a goalkeeper has to be one of our main positions. Like, I wasn't happy with Gazaniga. Yeah. Like, he's a very good-looking boy, innit? But he's not a great goalkeeper.
That's mute still.
And Lloris, I thought he was just declining, innit? He's in his early 30s now. And I was like, we need to prioritise a goalkeeper. That's on top of a striker and a DM and a right back and a left back and attacking midfielder. So it's basically like replacing the whole squad. So if Lloris can keep this form up for another 2 years, then we thank God.
Just that's all on the questions. I just had two quick things from me. One, I read something the other day about, probably yesterday too, about Vertonghen. The winner against Wolves, right? When you deep it, we are sixth on goal difference compared to Wolves. So I think that's probably the perfect ending. That's a perfect present from Vertonghen, because that doesn't go in with we're seventh, and then Arsenal probably win the FA Cup. You know,
it's crazy when you think about that. No.
Exactly. And then another thing someone else said. I think someone said something on the lines of, you know, when Ledley left, we were looking for like a Ledley replacement, and I think Vertonghen got as close to that as he possibly could. And now Vertonghen's going and Ledley's come back. It just it just fits fairly nicely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
And then
awesome full circle.
Yeah, man. And then absolute last thing for me, obviously, the Athletic are publishing top 60 greatest Premier League players ever. So I'm just wondering from you boys, obviously you've got posts on your account, but who do you think are like absolute shoe-ins and then potential outside or former players?
Top 60 players of Premier League history of all time.
Yeah. So number 60 today was Les Ferdinand, who obviously is more of a Newcastle legend than Tottenham legend, but like I said from the account, him and Klinsmann don't do their thing. We get relegated in '98, so hold tight, Les Ferdinand. But yeah, who do you man think are like shoe-ins and then maybe outside shots like former players?
Well, definitely the Centurions. So Kane, Defoe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think purely because of his PFA winner, I think he would have to put Bale in there. Yeah, you'd have to.
Mm-hmm. I think that Michael Carrick might be in there.
That's a good shout.
Yeah,
he might be in there more as a Man United.
As a United player, yeah. He won a lot as a United player, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. I think he was the only signing that year, and then they won the league and then Champions League the year after, or the league and Champions League the same year or something like that. Wow. He was the only signing that year. Like, he was nuts. I think.
What do you think of Berbatov?
Yeah, Berbatov.
Yeah, outside shout for me, but.
Yeah, and then maybe Klinsmann. Do you think Klinsmann might be in there?
Would he be above Ferdinand, do you reckon?
For us, obviously.
I know he would be for us.
I think for the culture, I think he could be. But if you're looking at that sort of list, there's going to be a lot of people who put in there, not just for nostalgia, but more for like what they've achieved in the Premier League, really.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely going to be a combination of both.
So what about Ledley?
You know what? I mean, Jamie Carragher's number 59. So
If Carragher's in there,
Carragher's there. You know what I mean?
But isn't he like the most like appearance maker ever for Liverpool? Or something like
You
that,
say he turned up.
He's second highest own goals. That's what he is.
Got them participation awards there from most of them.
Spitting at little children, bro.
Oh, jeez.
And then for the record, Carlos Tevez was number 58. So
Crazy.
yeah.
So Defoe has to be in there, man. Like, love that guy, man. Oh, that guy.
Nuts, bro. But yeah, that's all from my end still.
All right, guys. So because we missed predictions last week, should we end it on a prediction for the final?
Yeah. Fuck him. That's what it is.
Because
Kasai's not here. I'd say.
man.
Kasai's not here. Fuck him, innit? Like.
That's the energy you need.
Love it. I love it.
I think I could take it a bit easier from Chelsea fans if they want it, because they'll just not really care. I've only got one Chelsea fan in my main football group chat. There's like 3 Arsenal fans, like, and it would just be like, oh, where's 7th season? We've got another trophy.
Oh, that's the worst part. I hate that they pretend that they enjoy the trophies, bro.
Nah, they don't, man.
They don't even like them, bro. They won 5 and fired their manager. Like, they don't care about trophies. I don't know why they're doing that. You're 10th, like, or 8th or whatever, like, kind of.
I think a Chelsea win would be easier to stomach, I think.
Yeah, that's the only way to really look at it, man. Chelsea win is just better than anything.
It's quite annoying as well because I've got a whole family that supports Spurs apart from my younger brother who supports Arsenal, and I'm still convinced he's adopted. But yeah, it'll be definitely easier to stomach from that end as well if Chelsea win.
Score predictions or?
I'm gonna say 3-1 Giroud.
Yeah. 2-1 Giroud
I want to see
winner.
Giroud twerking on the plane again, celebrating the trophy.
2-1 Giroud winner. Yeah, absolutely. That's my
remember that
take.
as well.
Yeah, 2-1 Giroud, 3-1 Giroud. All right, cool. Been a good one, lads.
Always.
Until next season.
Next.
Peace, bro.
Peace.
A bit.
There we go.